Well, folks, once again, for the sixth time in 21 months, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives is pushing us towards yet another government shutdown that could begin as early as October 1st if a must-pass government funding bill does not clear the House and, of course, get passed by the Senate and signed by the President by September 30th. So, what's the holdup, right? I mean, we're in an election year. You really want to shut the government down a month before the election? Why are we not just passing the bill? Well, the answer happens to do with a man that is not even in government right now, Donald Trump. According to reports, and according to himself, Donald Trump is actually pushing Republicans to shut down the federal government a month before the election because he wants them to pass a piece of legislation that would outlaw things that are already outlawed. So a redundant piece of legislation that is not necessary is what Donald Trump is telling Republicans, and of course the House Freedom Caucus is pushing. If we don't get this bill, you're not going to get your government funding bill. And Trump did tell Monica Crowley recently, quote, "I would shut down the government in a heartbeat if they don't pass it." He'll shut it down in a heartbeat, he says, the man who is not in the government right now, if we don't pass the legislation that would make it illegal for non-citizens to vote in the United States, which again is illegal. The legislation would, of course, force voters to provide proof of citizenship when they register to vote. Now, right now, that burden is, of course, on the state election agencies. Like if somebody goes to register, you have to be able to look up in your computer system, which really should take 5 to 10 seconds, depending on your network connection, and see if they're a citizen or not. It's super easy. It's not a difficult thing. But instead, they're like, nope, these people have to prove it. And the bill would also give Republicans more leeway at the state level to purge people from the voting rolls if they think they are not a citizen. So it's not just that the bill criminalizes that which is already criminalized. Non-citizens are not allowed to vote in federal elections, but it also lets Republicans purge people who, hey, maybe this name doesn't sound American enough. Let's purge them and then force them to come back, re-register, and prove that they're citizens. That's the goal of it, to purge the voter rolls and to prevent people from being able to vote in November's election. So that bill, which for the record stands no chance of passing the House or being signed by President Biden, he's already said he will veto it, so it's a dead issue. It's literally not going to happen because it doesn't need to happen. And of course, it's going to lead to a lot of people unfairly and unjustly being kicked off voting rolls. So you're going to strip people of their right to vote, even when they shouldn't be stripped of their right to vote. But Republicans are so dumb. And honest to God, there is no other way to describe it. These people are so dumb that they're saying right now, we're not going to fund the government. We're going to shut down the government a month before the election because Trump wants us to, because he wants this legislation passed. Now, there have been times during this campaign where Donald Trump has kind of come out and taken sane positions on issues in order to appeal to voters, right? He understands that the abortion issue is a non-starter for voters. So he has come out and said, hey, I'm not going to do a federal abortion ban. The states can do what the states can do, which of course is still a dangerous position, but not as extreme as some of the other Republicans. He's come out in support of Florida's recreational marijuana bill, which has pissed off Republicans. But now, even after a couple common sense things, he's like, voters like these things, I will go with this. Now he's saying, I'm going to be the dumbest person ever, and let's shut down the government a month before people head to the polls. Now, to his credit, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson doesn't want this to happen, right? He is trying, working behind the scenes with his Republican caucus. Let's get together. Let's figure this out so we don't shut down the government. Because at least Mike Johnson, for all of his faults, still understands that if you shut down the government right before an election, you're effed. Like, there is no other way to say that. You are effed. And you're going to sit there and take it because there ain't nothing you can do about it, shutting down the government a month before the election. Voters are not going to be happy with that, and they are going to punish the party that does it. This is even more common than common sense. And yet so few Republicans in Congress seem to have that. They just genuinely don't understand why this is a bad idea, which is the most hilarious thing I think I've ever had to cover here. But this is what we're dealing with. So if they're not able to get that, making illegal voting illegal bill passed, there is talk of a continuing resolution. But even on the continuing resolution, this is kind of funny, they can't agree on how long it should be for. Because you got some Republicans that are like, what if we only fund it till like 2 weeks after the election? Then it's not an election issue. Then we'll know after the election who's going to control Congress. And, at that point, whoever's going to have the control can really make all the demands for the funding bill. Or whoever's going to lose control doesn't have to cooperate and just say, screw it, we're going to shut it down because we're whiny little babies. Now, that's what some want to do, push it till right after the election. Others are saying, oh, no. We're totally going to keep control of the House. So let's do a continuing resolution through, January or February when the new Congress gets sworn in. We'll have even more members, and then we can get even more of what we want in a budget bill. We can put in all these amendments. We can put in all these riders. We can get all these little special requests and do all these crazy, stupid things with it. So let's push it to next year. No matter which way you slice it, this is horrible. As I mentioned, last year alone, Republicans pushed us to the brink of a government shutdown every 2.5 months. This year, we didn't have as many issues, so I think this is the second time this year we've been on the cusp of a government shutdown. So I was wrong earlier when I said 6 times. It's actually 7. But this is what Republicans do because they don't know how to govern. And when they have a complete and total moron like Donald Trump, who again isn't in government right now, but he's still off on the golf course somehow calling the shots for these idiots. And they're like, well, okay. I guess we'll do this again. I guess we'll keep pushing it as far as we can. These people don't know how to govern. When you go to the polls this year, remember that. If there's only one thing you remember when you go to the polls this year, let it be that this Republican-controlled Congress pushed us to the brink of 7 government shutdowns in under 2 years, in 21 months. That's how bad they are. That is how pathetic they are. That is how stupid they are. So again, if you only remember one thing, let it be that. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.